Started out to be a very busy monsoon, and we talked about this earlier, where it is so hard to keep track of these storms because they're moving in, and then they get to the airport where they're supposed to, because that's how we keep track of it, and then all of a sudden just stops,
just disappears.
Breaks up, hits the mountains. All of them go, "Hey, come on, fellas! All right, we're out of here." You know, it just
does that.
Crazy.
You know, it's like when you look in between Sahuarita and the airport, there's no mountains. Just for some reason over the last few days, storms have been dying right there.
Invisible dome.
Yes, dry dome right there. You can see, looking at Tucson right there, Sean, what you have is it receded right back down to the city of Sahuarita and away from Tucson, but at least the east side was lucky, right?
Yeah, look at all that.
Yeah, they had a good bit moving into their area. Now, another spot that's lucky and has been kind of neglected for the last few days, Ajo and Lukeville. They actually had a bit of rain passing them by today, and I know we're only about a week or so into monsoon, but this is their first chance that they've had, and it looks like at least some of the outside areas there did see some rain. Now, of course, looking closer towards Tucson, that rain you were looking at about half an hour ago has mostly dissipated around the city, and as Sean and I were talking about before, the airport, which is right about here, which is where that official count is taken, looked like it had a little bit of rain for about 10 minutes before that storm did move further down towards the south. Now, Sahuarita still looking at that weaker thunderstorm, really not a whole lot with it right now. A few rumbles of thunder here and there, some pockets of heavy rain, but I wouldn't call that a severe storm by any stretch. The worst storms right now are actually around Safford. So that city had about 5 cells surrounding it. It looks like they've almost merged on the radar with the way it is, but in reality, it's just kind of combined in separate areas out there. But when it comes to how strong this storm is, looking at those cloud heights through the highest point, which should be right about here, you can see they're around 30,000 feet at most. Now, over the past few days, I've been talking about what you need for those severe storms is closer to 45, 50,000 feet. So looking north and south along this, it looks like it's starting to die down a little bit. So Safford, your biggest issue now is going to be the heavy, consistent rainfall. Other areas that saw that earlier today were closer towards spots like Sierra Vista and Benson. They saw pretty consistent rainfall between about 1 o'clock all the way through about right now. In fact, closer towards the city of Benson, where they were seeing thunderstorms earlier today, nothing but heavy rain. And looks like you're seeing a slight break from it now as it moves up towards the north, but there's going to be more on its way that's going to be coming down from Sierra Vista, which is also seeing just a little bit moving in. So it's mostly been the western portion of Cochise County where most of that rain has been, but there's a couple other thunderstorms in the center of that county. But as far as those getting stronger or moving into a spot like Wilcox, I just don't see that happening here. Another thing we might be noticing is that cloud cover for just about everyone, but I'm not seeing any storms popping up on visible satellite that scream to me severe weather. And the reason why is just because there hasn't been a whole lot of sunlight throughout the day today. What you need is sun earlier in the day to really build up that instability for really strong thunderstorms, and we just didn't see it out there, which is why heavy rain and winds around 40 miles per hour have been the biggest issue so far. Over the next few hours, though, Safford expecting a lot more rain in between now and midnight. Wednesday morning, that's going to be where you can expect that rain to be really popping back up. I'm thinking if you live around a spot like Douglas or Wilcox, could have some rain around 9 a.m. or so. If you're around Tucson, those clear conditions during the morning could be leading to a little bit of stronger thunderstorms, say around 3 to about 6 o'clock. After that, your rain chances should just about be wrapped up, and we could have maybe 1 or 2 weaker showers passing us by at 9 o'clock or so. So tomorrow, if you're wondering where I think the best thunderstorm chances are going to be, plenty of sunlight for a lot of Graham and Cochise County and even portions of Tucson. But again, if you wake up tomorrow morning, you feel the humidity, you see that sunlight, and you start to see it heating up, that's going to be when you can expect a severe thunderstorm to pop on up. And again, I think they're mostly going to be stronger thunderstorms developing. Severe weather, it's typically not something we see this early in monsoon, but it's just so great to see the rain today, the rain we had on Saturday, and even what we had earlier in the week, Sean, just because of what we went through a couple years ago and what we had last June, which, as we've talked about before, was a very dry month despite the monsoon we had.
Yeah, and I know that Matt saw some of the stirring down in Mexico and the Gulf, but pretty unexpected that it would be this active so early.
Yeah, it almost feels like July last year when we had close to 10 inches of rain, so hopefully we can get that going.
What's to come. All right, thanks, Daniel.